Good evening and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal, your host tonight, and we're here to basically preview the Arsenal versus Chelsea game and more because I think, as we all know, not only do we have a game on Sunday, but there's lots going on in terms of kind of in and around the club. So we're here to kind of discuss the game, talk about all the things that are happening in and around the club. And then we'll take it from there. So as you'll notice, we're not joined by Stephen tonight. He's got the night off. So wherever you are, Stephen, if you're watching, if you're not watching, have a good evening, bro. But I am joined by my fellow Canon Chatter member, Lottie. How are you, Lottie?
I'm good, G. I'm good. I'm just busy day with work. I'm still knackered.
Yeah.
But not long until I've got 2 weeks off. I'm literally counting down the days. It's like less than 10 working days now. And I've got
Nice.
I cannot wait. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You know, I've actually had this week off, which I've kind of kept on a D-low really, because often when you have time off and you let everybody know, it's like you kind of get pulled into doing this, that, and the other. So
I've
yeah,
got loads planned.
yeah, we've just been chilling really. We've just been chilling.
Oh yeah, that's right. Your kids are off for the summer, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're off for the summer holidays as well. So like, I think it was on Tuesday we went swimming. Tomorrow we're going to Chesterton, World of Adventures. So that would be nice. Just trying to do some family stuff, because obviously with the whole COVID situation, like we would usually fly out, maybe go on holiday, but just because of the uncertainty, I just wasn't really prepared to kind of invest no money in a holiday. So we're just trying to do some stuff in the UK that we wouldn't usually do. So other than that, no, we're good. We're good.
Good to hear.
So yeah, welcome to everybody who is joining us tonight. As I said, if you're just joining, we're here for the Arsenal versus Chelsea preview show, plus more. So we won't be talking about the game basically, straight off. There are a couple of, talking points that we're going to get through, and then we'll kind of run through Lottie's lineup. We'll talk a bit about the game, and then we'll let you know what we've got coming up later on next week. So before I kind of say my good evenings to everybody, we'll run the intro video and we'll see you in a moment.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So yes, welcome back to Canon Chatter TV. Those of you who are joining us a little bit late, myself and Lottie are here this evening to talk about all things Arsenal versus Chelsea, plus a lot more what's going on in and around the club. As you'll notice, we're not joined by Stephen tonight. He has a night off. So Stephen, if you are watching, if you're not watching, have a good evening, bro. If you are watching, jump in the chat. And hopefully all the other guys that are here, I know I can see the comments already, and we'll be saying good evening to you all individually as the show progresses. But yeah, obviously there's a lot happening at Arsenal at the moment. It's crazy because obviously we had the Brentford game, and it was like there was so much kind of went on before the Brentford game. So much has kind of gone on since the Brentford game that in a way the kind of result and performance has kind of been overlooked a little bit. And I kind of feel like it's a little bit like that now. We've got this big crunch game on Sunday against Chelsea. Obviously, we've got 0 points on the board, given the performance and the result against Brentford. But are you excited about the game coming up? Can you really think about the game coming up? Because obviously we've got all this other stuff. We've got incomings, we've got outcomings, we've got COVID tests, we've got captaincy debates. How are you feeling about the game, Lottie?
Do you know what? I'm not really bothered about the game, if I'm honest with you. I'm excited to go. I mean, it's just, I'm looking forward to the match day itself. I'm catching up with people. I'm going for drinks, food, literally go to the game, come out, and then it's probably off to a sesh. So that's what match day is about for me at the moment. I mean, it would be great to pull a result over them, but as I've been panicking on Twitter, Lukaku's back with his size 13 boots, and yes, that is a guess. So I don't know whether he'll come on as an impact sub or start is a different story for them. But I'm not overly confident at the moment, especially after Friday.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that obviously, we've not made the best start. We've got Chelsea coming up, and all of a sudden, a couple of the key players that that were either not available, or, the Lukaku transfer that hadn't gone through. Now, obviously, he's gone through. He's now available to play. It looks as though, we are going to be facing a full strength Chelsea side, which at the moment is giving most Gooners probably sleepless nights. I can imagine. So, yeah. So, but like I said, we're not going to jump straight into the game, but I just wanted to kind of get a feel of how you were feeling, obviously, as the game fast approaches. So we're going to start tonight with probably what, everybody's kind of thinking about, everybody's talking about, it's all over socials, and that is the Odegaard and Ramsdale debate. So these guys have been signed by the Arsenal, and all we're literally waiting for at this precise moment are the official announcements. Whether they will, well, they're not going to come today, but whether or not the announcements will be tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, early next week, we don't really know, because we know Arsenal do like to take their time announcing transfers. But just in terms of these two players in particular, how do you feel about these two players becoming Gooners? And that's not to say like now they're Gooners. I know you like me and Stephen and all our viewers, we're going to support them 100. But I just mean kind of in hindsight, now they've signed, how do you feel about, them signing, as Arsenal players? And secondly, do you think they will potentially feature in Sunday's game?
Rumour has it Ramsdale's looking to start on Sunday, which will be very interesting. Obviously, last season he had one or two good saves against Chelsea for Sheffield United. Mm-hmm. Odegaard has got problems with his visa, so he's probably unlikely he's going to start at all. We're going to be waiting for him to sort that out until he gets his visa sorted. Yeah, well, that's just rumour. Don't take my word for it. But yeah, no, I'm quite happy with the signings. I know a lot of people aren't quite too happy about it, and they're saying, "Oh no, we should have gone sign Maddison. He's Premier League proven." But if I'm honest with you, we're smart buying. I think they are doing it to appease the fans, and it's just not a very nice place out there at the moment. Definitely not. I mean, there's a lot of positivity and stuff going on in and around it. Yeah. But there's always that section of fans that are really unhappy. They send the abuse out and all the rest of it.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Albert distracted me there. Yeah, no, they were just it's a bit of a nightmare up there. The thing is, I do think if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. I know I've been called out on it this morning. Yeah. But I'm not atting the player. I said what I said, and that's the end of it. I mean, we've just had a quick discussion about this offline. If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it all. But if you're frustrated, it's fine. You can tweet about it, but don't at the player, because that's when it becomes serious abuse. Yeah. And it's just some of the screenshots people are posting, and I've seen from Instagram, Facebook, and even on Twitter. It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, but I'm hoping the money that we pay for Ramsdale, I'm hoping he goes out and proves them all wrong. I mean, you don't pay 30 million for a keeper and not expect to play first spot. I know there's the English tax to consider, but you don't pay that amount of money. Even though technically it's 24, and then they get the last 6 when he is made first keeper, when potentially Leno moves on. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I think as fans, like we, obviously we love our club, and, going into the transfer market, the transfer window, it's always a kind of an exciting time, because it's kind of the if, the buts, the maybes, you're not really sure who your club's going to sign, who they won't sign. And obviously as fans, like we watch football, and, we know our team, and we kind of have an idea of what our team needs. So I think we kind of get almost like attached or kind of committed to, the club actually potentially signing someone. And I think I have to kind of be honest, like in that I kind of fell into that trap, in that I saw a lot of the players that we were linked with, and I had my favorites. So when it came to kind of, attacking midfielder, I kind of had my heart set on Arsenal signing Maddison. When it came to the goalkeeping options, I kind of wanted Arsenal to potentially make Matty Ryan's deal a permanent deal. And then when I saw Onana, obviously he's got the suspension, but the price tag, we're talking 6 to 10 million. I thought, that would make sense. So I think a lot of it is, the feeling about being quite deflated or underwhelmed by, the signings of Odegaard and Ramsdale. It's not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily a reflection of the players themselves. It's more to do with the fact that as fans, we kind of fall in love with potential signings before they really happen. And then obviously when they don't happen, it kind of makes you feel or leaves you feeling a little bit underwhelmed. But at the end of the day, I echo what you said, Lottie. These two players, they might not have been my preferred choice or your preferred choice, or they might have been some fans' preferred choice. At the end of the day, they're Gooners now. So, the announcements haven't been made, but the deals have been done. They're in the process of doing their medicals. They've signed on the dotted line, and they're now Gooners. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to support them 100% when they put on that shirt. Whether or not, I was in favor of that transfer happening, right now kind of becomes irrelevant. And for me, if I've got an issue with that transfer, it's going to be with the likes of Arteta or Edu or Kroenke, because ultimately, like I said to you, we spoke before we went live, these players can't be, criticized or ridiculed or victimized basically because they've been identified and purchased for Arsenal Football Club as players. Like, it's not their fault,
their first game yet.
Exactly. So
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make no sense. So, I think I don't want to dwell on the whole, online abuse thing too much, because I think sometimes we do give it a little bit too much attention. But, for me, so-called Arsenal fans that are out there, sending abusive messages or commenting on stuff, as far as I'm concerned, you're not fans of Arsenal Football Club, because that's not how we carry ourselves. And to be honest, now they're Gooners, I'm just going to give them my full support regardless. Any criticism coming from me, and I know coming from you, is going to be based on their performances in an Arsenal shirt and nothing more. So, welcome to Arsenal, Odegaard and Ramsdale. Might not have been our first choice, but they're Gooners now. So we just got to get behind them and hopefully they do well for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? But just on that matter, obviously, we've made, I think it's 5 signings. We've spent about, say, 120, 130 mil once these two are over the line. In terms of like, what next? I don't want to go into too much detail, but just a kind of a prediction for the rest of the transfer market. How many players do you honestly see coming in between now and the 31st? And of the players that you think are going to come in, what positions do you think they'll be?
I'm hoping for 3 more. I know I've got a big list. I mean, I think we spoke about it. Well, you spoke about it on our WhatsApp group.
Yeah,
we need a keeper. We need a right back. We need a centre forward. At this point, I mean, I don't exactly buy into the whole COVID he's sick thing with Aubameyang. So I think he wants to leave, and the rumor of a swap with Coutinho is a solid no. From me. Maybe a couple of years ago, but not now. No, I don't know who we're going to pick up for that sort of money at the moment. And so if someone wants to buy Aubameyang, are they going to pay the ridiculous money that we pay him?
There's a lot to kind of take into account.
And when it comes to wages, no, definitely. When it comes to wages, we're our own worst enemy. Literally, Chelsea, United, and City have got the same problem. Come down with us. They want to get rid of him. Can't move him because it's too much money. Yeah.
And that's kind of Georgina. Good evening, Georgina. She kind of hit on nail on the head. Like, we've got to ship some out ASAP.
Definitely.
I think that's kind of going to determine at this point whether or not we have any more incomings. Because if our squad wasn't big before, with the new arrivals, it's huge now. So
I mean, I read in the paper yesterday that if we do ship these players out, we're going to be we're meant to be subsidising their wages.
Yeah. Okay.
How does that help us?
Yeah. It's
just
crazy.
ridiculous.
It is. It's
But then
crazy.
again, you can't read everything you read in the paper. Believe everything you read in the newspapers.
Definitely.
So.
And that kind of takes us nicely. I don't know if you planned that, but that kind of takes us nicely onto our next talking point. Now, obviously, I put up a picture here of Aubameyang and Lacazette. Now, just before I kind of come to you with regards your feelings about the two players, and just to kind of give you guys an update, I don't know if you've seen it, those of you watching, but the team news came out a little earlier to us going live, and basically it's been confirmed that Aubameyang, Lacazette, Willian, and Renarsson tested positive for COVID. The latest is that Aubameyang is back and he is in with contention of playing on Sunday. Willian, I think, has returned, from what I read, a negative test, and he will be assessed ahead of the game, while Lacazette and Renarsson will still be out and will miss the game. The other news to come from that team news was that Partey and Gabriel are still out to be expected, and they are hoping to be back in training by the end of the month. So obviously with that team news, my question originally was going to be, will Laka and Uba be back? Given the team news that, obviously you've seen on Twitter, which I've just kind of summarized, how are you feeling about it? Because obviously Aubameyang's back in contention. We know Lacazette and Renarsson are out. So my question is, should or will Aubameyang start? The whole Willian and Renarsson and Laka situation, do you really buy that these guys have got COVID? Or, is there more to it? And kind of thirdly, how much of a miss is Gabriel and Partey going to be? Because by all accounts, they're going to be out until the end of the month at least.
Starting with Aubameyang and then Lacazette and like the whole, as well as Renarsson and the other one, who was the fourth person? Willian. I don't buy into it. Not even one bit. I mean, the isolation period is 10 days. He's back. It's just been over a week. That doesn't make sense. And for the other two to be out, I sort of buy it, but with him, I don't.
Yeah.
He's been away, 8 days? He should be isolating still. So I'm a bit iffy about it. But now I feel like my lineup I feel like a right lemon now.
No, not at all.
I'm not looking forward to discussing that at all. But,
not at all, because you weren't to know. Do you know what I mean? This obviously
we did this at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So there's a few changes I'm gonna have to make while we're talking about it in a bit. But no, I don't buy it. Not one bit. I mean, we've seen what happened when he got benched because he was late. And he hasn't been right since. But yes, he's had malaria. Yes, this and that has happened. But your preseason was poo.
Shocking.
Yeah, that's the word.
I thought you were going to say something else there, so I finished your sentence.
I know, it's so tricky. No, it was just like, where is this guy? I mean, Eddie Nketiah had a better preseason than he did.
Yeah.
And he's not the most highly rated player for me personally, but it doesn't make sense. And again, it brings into question, how can Lacazette and Aubameyang, being best mates off the pitch and then on the pitch, they don't even know each other?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all. I mean, he goes invisible on that left wing, and then what?
And how do you feel about the whole kind of like Gabriel and Partey situation? Because obviously, we know those two are injured because Gabriel, he had to withdraw from the Olympics. We saw Partey go down and couldn't continue, in the preseason friendly, but they're going to be huge misses. I'm not sure how many games they're going to eventually miss, but even when they return to training, they're not going to go straight into the first team squad because it's going to take them some time to kind of get up to pace. Because Gabriel basically hasn't had a preseason. And Partey's preseason was disrupted. So do you think we have enough in terms of kind of players and personnel to cope with their absence, like moving into the season?
For the next two games, no, considering who we're coming up against.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked beyond September for our fixtures off the top of my head. I don't know, so I can't really say. Yeah. But at the moment, they are a bit of a big miss. I mean, I think I put a poll up about White and who the perfect pairing would be. And most people, I think over 50% wanted to see Gabriel and White pair up in the middle. And I think for me, that's going to be the most interesting thing. I mean, we've seen White and Mari. We've yet to see White and Holding play together. So it's going to be interesting once Gabriel is back up and running.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't wait for Partey to be back. And then hopefully 34 can be benched and I don't have to look at him again for a while. So he can play alongside Sambi. I just can't wait to see that. I'm very, very excited for them two to be playing together.
It just seems like
it is a miss either way, especially for this month of fixtures.
It just seems like with Arsenal, it's like we can never have a straightforward preseason. We can never have a fully fit. Like we're at a point where really and truly, like our first 11 is not the strongest, and you know, obviously we've bought some of these players and we bought them for squad depth, but you know, 9 out of 10 teams go into the Premier League season with more or less a fully fit side, and you know. Already, you know, Gabriel's out, Partey's out. We've had the whole COVID situation with Aubameyang and Laka. And you kind of got to feel a little bit for Arteta because, you know, these are big players. Like, these are the equivalent of, you know, if you're looking at like a team like City, these are the equivalent of, you know, somebody like Kevin De Bruyne or Diaz or Fernandinho being absent. You know, they are key players. So for the Arsenal team, when you look at Gabriel, Partey and Aubameyang, regardless of what your opinions are of them as players, that is basically the spine of our team. You know, that's probably our best, our strongest centre back, you know, our best midfielder. And when he's on form, our top striker, you know, that is a huge loss and it's a huge miss for any side. And that's going to have an impact. I think with the whole COVID situation, we kind of have to just take, you know, the club's, you know, stance and, you know, the news that they've released, you know, for what it is. I feel as though there could be more to it with regards, you know, I'm not too sure if these players or if all of these players have had COVID. I think there is more to it. At the end of the day, I'm going to just say, look, give the club the benefit of the doubt and just say, look, yeah, you know, they had COVID. I think if Aubameyang is fit, I think he should play in a game of this magnitude, because I've said it before. He is our captain. He is our most prolific striker when he's on form. And at the end of the day, as you've said, he's not been on form. The only way he's going to get on form is if he's playing. There's no point having him on the bench while he's at the club. So regardless of him not being on form, for me, if his attitude's right in training, he should play. Obviously, if there's an issue with his attitude or his response to training, then I can understand why Arteta will bench him. But if everything else behind the scenes is working fine, then if he's not scoring goals, I don't think that is necessarily just a reason to justify not playing him in such a big game. Because if, you know, he's a big player and we need him to kind of turn up. Definitely. With regards, obviously, Lacazette, you know, he's not there. I'm sure he would have featured, you know, if he was. I'm not too fussed, if I'm honest, about Renarson and Willian having COVID. Well, I don't wish COVID on them, but I'm not too fussed that they're not available. I mean, if they do have COVID, yeah, I wish them all the best and I hope they recover. But the fact that they're not available, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, because
no, definitely not.
I wouldn't necessarily put them in the team anyway.
We know that Willian doesn't want to be here. I mean, he went to Dubai halfway through the season. Who does that?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the state he came back in from holiday.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, you're a professional footballer and you let yourself go over a short summer. Like, well, good, he's enjoyed himself, but that's no good to us, whether you want to be here or not.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like, obviously, with the whole kind of team news thing, and I think given the fact that, you know, the performance, not just the result, but I think the performance more so against Brentford. Brentford being,
Sorry, Jay. Can you go back to that last comment? I want to get your opinion on that.
No
from
problem.
Mark on the. What do you think of that? I like that.
Well, I'm hoping Sammy and Partey gives us what we had when we had Petit and Vieira. You know what? I think that is probably the plan. I think it's quite clear that, you know, I think from when I look at like the signing of Lokonga and the way he plays, and obviously the signing of Partey, I think what we've definitely gone for in the middle is athleticism, in terms of like, strength, pace, power, because you've seen Lokonga, when he picks up the ball, he can glance past the player. He's strong on the ball. He's a big lad for a young lad. So I think it could be something very similar to what we had, because even when you think about the Invincible, the Invincible side, obviously you've got Petit Vieira, but you had the likes of Vieira, Gilberto Silva. We've not always had, we've always had the midfield has always been strong. It's always been solid. And I could definitely see, Partey and Lokonga potentially having that type of partnership in the middle. So yeah, thank you, Mark Wilson, for that comment. But yeah, I think, Lokonga, as good as he's been in pre-season, and obviously he's had to feature earlier than expected, I think, because of Partey's injury, we don't really know what Arteta's plan is. We don't know if Arteta was actually going to start with Xhaka. The only thing that worries me with the whole Xhaka situation is that he obviously gave him the captain's armband. So if you're giving him the captain's armband, then you're obviously thinking along the lines of this is a crucial member of the team, and the likelihood is, he's going to play, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. I wouldn't pick a captain that I know is going to be a player who's likely to be benched. So I think Lokonga was definitely a signing we made for the future. I don't think we or Arteta wanted to rely on him this early in the season or at this point, but given the circumstances, with Arsenal's infamous, injury history, he kind of has no choice, and I think the lad's done well. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that with regards to the whole Lokonga and Partey situation. We've got a couple more comments before we move on. I think they were more to Uber situation. I'm sorry, I just don't think he's captain material. Garrett, yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. We've got Mark Green. I don't think Arteta knows Arteta's plan. And you know what? That's funny, because we're going to be speaking about Arteta before we kind of get onto the Arsenal-Chelsea game. And obviously here, Matt, I think, Matt shares the same opinion that most of us share, which is, I think we all kind of believe that, Kieran Tierney should be captain. And it's kind of mind-boggling and puzzling as to why he's not. And, we can only kind of assume or speculate as to why he's not. But I think for a lot of us, it really doesn't make sense. And the last comment I'm going to touch upon now, he also said Bellerin is one of the 5 captains. So yeah, it is concerning. The whole captaincy thing is concerning, just because of the personnel. Obviously, we've got Xhaka in the last game. If Aubameyang returns, he'll probably get the armband because he's our official captain. And I'm not convinced, like a lot of Arsenal fans aren't convinced, that he is captain material. And it just begs belief that we've got players in the starting 11 that are captain material or potential captain material, and they're not really getting a look in. So that's a bit worrying. So that brings us obviously kind of nicely onto our next topic of conversation, which is Arteta himself. Now, there's this whole debate about Arteta in, Arteta out, and at Cannon Chatter TV, we don't necessarily entertain the debate as such. Like, we're fine if people are Arteta in, we're fine if people are Arteta out. I think, I can speak for myself. I know I can speak for Stephen, who's absent tonight, and Lottie, I'll let you have your own say. I think, we all want Arteta to do well. We're not particularly convinced or happy in terms of what we've seen so far, but we're very much willing to support him up until this point. I think we all kind of have a bit of a mental date in which, if things don't start to improve, for some people it might be the first 10 games, for some people it's Christmas, for some people they're willing to give him maybe a couple of more transfer windows. But just to kind of give you some stats with regards to this. So obviously Arteta's been at the club a little while now, Lottie. I saw something on Sky Sports News today to say once we've secured the signings of Odegaard and Ramsdale, we would have spent £129 million in the transfer market, which is more than any other team within the division. Now, given the fact that we finished 8th last season, albeit we had a very good second half of the season, we've lost to Brentford, we've got Chelsea, we've got City. So if we look at Arteta's performance so far and the fact that he spent £129 million on new players, new recruits, is he under pressure? Yes or no? And if not, should he be under pressure at this point?
It depends who you're asking about the pressure for. If it's from certain sections of this fan base, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, none of us were happy on Friday. I wasn't particularly happy on Friday. I avoided all media to do with it. Right through until like maybe Monday morning. So it was just he is under pressure from certain fans, but not from say the likes of me. At the moment, I'm giving him till Christmas. I want to see what else he brings in the next 13 days.
Okay.
So is it 13? No, 12. I should say. Sorry. So it should be interesting to see what he does. I mean, if we go into September with 0 points, he'll be gone by the beginning of October.
Yeah.
Guaranteed gone. The fans will go mad, and he doesn't have the advantage of us not being in the grounds. And we're going to be there. They're going to be loud, and he will feel the full force of the fans' voice, and it will get.
So do you feel? So you feel as though the pressure is going to mount if results don't, start coming his way?
Definitely, I think if we lose, it's going to turn very, very, very toxic in them on Sunday. I can just see it coming. I mean, I'm going myself, so I'll let you know. But there's going to be it's going to be bad, especially with the rumours that I've heard today. The Chelsea fans are buying up our home tickets in general sale, so it's going to be a bit dangerous out there, if you ask me. Especially if they want to kick off.
It's what it is. It feels as though it's on a knife's edge. The whole kind of support with regards to Arteta. And I think that for a lot of Arsenal fans, I think one of the main reasons why they are still in support of Arteta is because I think they actually understand the context of just how big the job is.
But who is there to replace him, Jay? There's nobody out there. And people aren't thinking. Like, I was talking about it on North Bank Summit last night. There's no one else out there. You get rid of him. Oh, yeah, we're going to get the Conte. But as Stephen said, they ain't going to give him the money to spend. We've already spent a load of money.
Yeah.
And he left, was it Inter or UK? Because they wouldn't give him more money for transfers.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen. I mean, I know Tony just said it's Christmas too long. Tony, who else is there that's actually deep? So
this is an interesting comment from Chris. Good evening, Chris. So I think we can say the next two are expected losses. It's more if we lose to Norwich in game 4. So my question is, so thank you for that comment, because I think it's an interesting one. So my question to you lot is, have you, as an Arsenal fan, resigned yourself to the fact that 3 games in, it's very likely that we are going to have 0 points?
Yes, so I've kind of. But there's still like maybe a minuscule, but that much hope that we can put it off. I mean, Chelsea still haven't beaten Arteta. Man City have still not got the strike situation sorted. I mean, if you look at the Spurs game on Sunday, obviously I had to watch it because of my stepdad. I was hoping for City to pull out the bag. Tony. But obviously you hold out the first 20 minutes. They've got no plan B. That's it. Yeah. And then you can take the game to them. That's it. If they can hold out for that long, then we'll be okay with City. I think we'll might manage maybe a tidy draw, which is fine by me, point to point. But the stats are in Arteta's favour, sort of thing at the moment. Cause Chelsea we did the job better than last season. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I was expecting to lose on Boxing Day. I was sitting there like okay, I'm bored of this now. Let's just kick off. And then all of a sudden those balls went in. I was just like, oh my god. And my mum's like, calm down. I'm like, we're beating Chelsea. Do you know how bad we've been since Christmas? I said, this is the best Christmas present I've had. So
crazy,
I just hope we put out the bag. I really do.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, obviously from the chat and obviously the comments that are coming in, it kind of feels like people are not necessarily Arteta out, but they are very much aware and disappointed with his kind of managerial performance in terms of results at this point. And I think, what else is kind of surprising, well, not surprising to me, because I feel the same, is here, Mikey Sanchez, thanks for the comment. Good evening. Is that I'm expecting an Arsenal loss. The team shows no heart and desire, and I can definitely, resonate with that. I can definitely feel that because, I'm not going into this game excited in that we could potentially get a result. I've kind of resigned myself to think, well, you know what? We're playing Chelsea, we're playing City. Chances are we're going to lose those games. And in a way that kind of epitomizes just how far we've fallen as a club.
I kind of got to disagree with that comment because there's certain players in that team that give themselves 100% week in, week out. And we all know who they are. I don't need to name names, but I am going to add Sambi to that list.
Yeah.
So that is very I understand where I'm coming from, but it's completely unfair on those particular players.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the performance of Smith Rowe, Saka, Tierney, and Sambi on Friday night. Them four players, the only ones that stood out for me, and the rest of them, like the senior players, are just an embarrassment now.
Yeah,
literally an embarrassment. I mean, for them to be leading the way, should we be concerned? Yes, because they're going to burn out eventually, and we can't have that. Because there's such bright starts for the future.
It's crazy. There's just one more thing, like obviously with regards to the whole Arteta situation, I think we're all kind of feeling the same in that we're not, like I said, we're not massively, impressed with how things are. I think that kind of sums up Arsenal fans at the moment. I think we're not, we're kind of underwhelmed in terms of the way the team's performing.
No,
we're underwhelmed to a certain extent with the incomings in terms of the transfer window. And obviously looking ahead into these two games, there is a feeling that, the chances are we're probably going to lose both and have 0 points after 3 games. But one thing I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on, and I'll kind of kick off myself. Like, obviously, Arsenal Football Club, we often as Arsenal fans talk about this agenda. This agenda against Arsenal in the media and so forth. And, earlier today, I was kind of deep in it. And I thought to myself, you know what? I honestly believe it's a real thing. Because when you actually look at it, like, we're getting slated on Sky Sports, we're getting slated on TalkSport, and all these other kind of channels, et cetera, by, ex-pros, managers, whatever it is, pundits, whatever. And I just thought to myself, like, okay, Arsenal, we've signed potentially 5 players for a grand total of 129 million, of which all are, I believe, under the age of 23. So they're all young, aspiring players. And, they're players with potential, players that, are hopefully one day will become world class. Like, why is that more negative than Chelsea, for example, selling a player who they signed as a youngster for like 28 million and then buying him back a couple of years later for, 100 million pounds? How is what Arsenal are doing in the transfer market more negative in the media than the likes of City, adding £100 million Grealish to an already, massively overpaid, overpriced squad? I saw some stats, and the team that lost to Spurs the other day, they had the average cost of the player within that squad was £50 million. And that was including subs and the first 11. So, my question is, it gets me quite frustrating because don't get me wrong, as an Arsenal fan, I get frustrated because I see, teams that we're trying to compete with spending £100 million on a player. However, why are we getting negative media coverage for spending 129 million on 5 young, potentially, gifted players, when there are other clubs out there that are spending 100 million on one player? Like, why is that the reason? What is it?
It's the Arsenal media agenda. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been like that. I actually didn't think of this before, but I blocked TalkSport this morning. I don't have to ever see it in my news feed again. Best thing I've ever done, but I just wish people would stop quoting their tweets because you're giving them the airtime they want.
Yeah,
they want to upset us. And that's what they want to do, and they're going to keep doing it because they want the reaction, they want the hits, they want people watching, and that's how even the YouTube channels, that's how they work as well, because it's reactionary. You watch people say this, say that, even if it's reactionary, and it gets the hits. The hits. I mean, everybody likes to upset us. I wonder why. But it's also a case of people remembering that they're the minority. It's not everybody. It's not everybody, and that's what really annoys me at the moment. I mean, if like a small group of fans does something, we all get tarred with the same brush, and it annoys the hell out of me because it's just like you'll be sitting in the pub. Oh, you're an Arsenal fan. It's just like, really? Have you got something better to say? Like even
it's just
even
crazy,
if it's
man.
like it's just banter, but it's like, okay, I've heard this before. Have you got anything new?
Yeah.
And you throw something back at them and like, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. And I'm like, it's a joke. Calm the hell down.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's just like things like it's things like the headings. Like obviously you've got like, Aston Villa signed that player Leon Bailey. Now, obviously at some point in the window, we were linked with Leon Bailey, just like we're linked with almost every single player that wants to leave their club. But it's almost like, instead of just saying like Aston Villa buys Leon Bailey, winger Leon Bailey, it's like Aston Villa buy Arsenal target Leon Bailey. It's just like, like it's not done, innit? And it's like when Arsenal buy a player, it's like we pay 50 million for Ben White, and all they talk about is the price tag and how we've paid over the odds. But then they don't talk about Man United actually selling a youth prospect like Pogba and then buying him back for 100 million, or the fact that Harry Maguire cost 80 million when he was relegated how many times with his club. But it's just constant, and it's across so many different platforms. Like,
I think it's like they're talking about us. I mean, they did an old school entrance for Varane. He just walked out into the ground in front of the fans. No media coverage on that. They're too busy talking about us. I'm like, are you serious? Like back in the day when that happened, everybody went nuts.
Yeah.
But because of social media, because of whatever the media are doing, it's just based around us because we're doing so poorly because we are the Arsenal.
Yeah.
And we've fallen. We've just been falling off the map. I mean, some people will disagree with me here, but Wenger was turning water into wine. We're struggling.
Yeah, in terms of what he was doing with the players he had.
Call me biased. I've only ever seen Wenger full long term at the club, but he was. And for fans to go for him the way they did, I still don't like that. It's wrong. Yes, he was done, but you could have gone about it another way.
Definitely. Okay, well, what we'll do is, before we obviously jump onto the game which is happening obviously on Sunday, Arsenal versus Chelsea, we'll go through some of these comments because this is quite a hot topic, and I can see obviously you guys are commenting on this. So we'll just go through some of the comments. So the only person that can speak on Arsenal is Jamie O'Hara. Everyone else speaks valid points. True. The people that go, Wheezy J, good evening, go on Talk Sport are nothing but degenerate has-beens that didn't make it and are a bunch of crybabies. Very true. I'm like, some of the players that are on there criticizing Arsenal, and I'm like, mate, you wasn't even that good yourself. Like, come on.
I will give credit's due where credit's due with Jamie O'Hara, though. They were talking about if Chelsea was a bigger club than Arsenal. He turned around and said, no, they're the most successful club in London.
I did see that. I'm
a Tottenham fan, and even I know Arsenal are the biggest club in London.
Yeah. I did see
that. He got a tiny bit of respect from me there, even though he is an
expert. Yeah, a little bit. Little bit.
Just a smidge, like literally a grain of rice respect.
Yeah. Chris, good evening, Chris. We spent 130 million on players we needed. This is from a club that spent very little in recent years. Very good point. For all the recruitment we've done, as much as we may have our opinions on the recruitment, we've signed players that we've needed in terms of squad depth. That's true. Jamie O'Hara is blinded by his Spurs bias, definitely.
He called Arsenal a big club, David. I'm saying nothing. I'm not going to let him forget that either.
I've blocked TalkSport to Lottie. Jamie O'Hara, Spurs reject. I think, to be honest, I've done the same. Like, I just can't take the kind of anti-Arsenal content. The callers they get on Talks are voice actors. I'm convinced.
Some of them are legit, I think.
Yeah. Matt Darrington, we've got here, because Arsenal have always been doing it in the Arsenal way, and now we are not. That is why there is an agenda against us.
The panda's right.
Okay. We've got loads of comments here to get through before we move on. Some fans are against Arteta regardless. He could have signed Messi and people would still moan he shouldn't play ahead of Martinelli. It's true. And there will always be difference of opinions. Big ups from Australia.
Hi, Robbie.
Good evening.
I believe that's Robbie from the ITF podcast. Guys, make sure you go and check it out. I'm usually logged in at 11:30 on a Thursday. Absolutely brilliant show.
Brilliant. There you go. Lottie's bigging you up. Good evening. Next, we have Lewis Stevenson. I mean, Ahara can't speak on Arsenal. That's true. I actually think I commented on the video and just said, he said something about Arsenal is embarrassing. And I couldn't help myself. I actually said your footballing career was embarrassing. I literally could not help myself. I couldn't. I just bit.
Do you know what?
I don't like to react. I don't like to react, but that one I actually had to comment because I just thought,
you just can't help yourself.
Like, how dare you say that Arsenal are an embarrassment when, mate,
your career was a joke itself.
Yeah. There we go. Hi, Robert. We've got a little hello there. I'm going to breeze through these really, really quickly so we can move on. Villa fans can't talk. They lost to Watford. I know, for all the hype they were giving it, before the season. Now look at them. Get such bad press from so many different platforms because it's clickbait and that's how they get their views. Exactly, Jay. It makes sense. I would give my right foot to have Wenger back. I wanted him out, but I will take him back in a heartbeat.
I think some of us have learned our lesson.
Yeah, I think so.
Keith.
Good evening, Keith. Right, next we've got Lewis Stephen again. We sold Willock when he scored more goals than Smith Rowe has in his life last season. Okay, that's an interesting one. Maybe we'll come back to that a little bit later because I do want to press ahead with regards to the Chelsea game. We've got thanks, Lottie, no problem. I didn't hear that, but Jamie has laughed at us and criticised us so much over the last week. If he said Arsenal's biggest club in London, then fair play to him on that. Yeah, I do remember him saying that, so I can confirm I did see that. Go
onto their media page and find it, David. Literally, it's my favourite clip. That's it.
Yeah, I did actually remember seeing that. I did remember seeing that. The Mr. Arsenal podcast, good evening. What hacked me off more than anything last week was Jamie Carragher was talking great pleasure in Brentford's goal. Yep, when he's meant to be unbiased. Big up Micah Richards, by the way, on calling out Gary Neville and Graham Souness. Yeah, 100%. And that, I didn't particularly rate Mika as a player, but as a pundit, I think he's probably the best pundit I've seen in a long time.
No, definitely. With Carragher, you got to remember he sounds like a cartoon. Take him with a pinch of salt.
Yeah,
sounds like an absolute cartoon to me. He's an absolute clown when he does the commentary over the games. Absolute clown.
Yeah, no, definitely. O'Hara is a legend. Who is he? O'Hara is an embarrassment. Leave the Smith alone.
Yes, Ryan, you're with me.
You got to feel sorry for Laura Woods. She's a bit outnumbered. Yeah, because you know what? A lot of the time, I actually agree with what she says. Yeah, she's actually
I like her.
She's actually quite good. But she did say something about Odegaard not being value for money at 30 million, and I did think that was a bit
iffy. Yeah.
Yeah. I never wanted Wenger out, but I thought perhaps he should have been allowed to finish his contract. And lastly, before we move on, Wenger did so much for us and football. Right. So with that, what we are going to do now is, because we are going to try and keep tonight's show a little bit shorter than the usual 2 hours that we usually do, mainly because Lottie appeared on the show last night for, I think it was quite a while. It was about 2.5 hours long.
On the North guys. Make sure you go and check it out if you missed it. Tomorrow. Yeah, you've got a nice long day tomorrow. You're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be out all day with the kids. So, right. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over. Thank you so much for all your comments. As always, massively appreciate it. So keep them coming in. Now we're going to move over to kind of looking at the Arsenal versus Chelsea game, which is happening, on this Sunday. Now, Lottie, I'm going to bring up your team. Is that good, or do you need to make me to make it a little bit bigger?
A little tiny bit bigger. You might need to scroll up for Leno's head, though. Actually, no, leave Leno's head off. We don't need to. We know he's in goal. We don't care about Leno. Leave him in there. There's no one else at the time. But if Ramsdale can start on Sunday, I want Ramsdale to start. I don't want him. But at the time when I did this, it was 12:30 in the afternoon. No news had been dropped.
So just run us literally through your team in terms of obviously formation and personnel, kind of like why you've picked them, reasons behind, etc.
I've sort of gone for a back three this time round of White, Holding, and Tierney. I've been screaming out for on the left for. I know Tierney's wasted as a centre back, but I want him there, and then I want Tavares to be that left wing back. I think that could get really interesting. The kid can get from the halfway line to the box in 0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you don't believe me, go look at my blog. I have screenshots. with the clock ticking down in his game for I knew you'd say that, Tony. He's actually my captain as well. Well, no, actually, it's got to go to Tierney, innit? Sorry, Tony.
Yeah.
But that left side's going to get very interesting. I think the link up between Tavares and Smith Rowe I've got on that side will be very interesting as well. I've gone for Bob Balding, as Tony would put it, purely because we haven't seen him this season yet. I think it could be interesting him alongside White. We know how he plays with Tierney, but I think with the back three alongside White, I think it'd be a lot better. I mean, White won't have to cover for the middle so much more with Tierney because he's great in the middle for me. I've put Cedric on there for something different. Didn't want number 2. I know he's fallen out of favour, but Chambers can't get forward for the formation that I want, and it kind of left Pepe isolated before, so there's not much I can do. In the middle, I've gone for little speed monster, I call him, Torreira, because he's back in London as of this afternoon. And I've also gone for my favourite Sambi in the middle. 34, after the other day, he just panicked, constantly putting pressure on Tierney to do all the work. He can sit on the bench as far as I'm concerned, or not turn up at all. But he's more likely going to be on the bench because we've got no other senior players. But I'd like to see Torreira in there with Sambi. I think it could be a very interesting combination. They both play similar. I mean, they will push through and keep Chelsea on their toes, I think. Front three, this was really tricky to do because obviously Pepe plays on the right normally, and Smith Rowe can either play in the middle or the left. I've had to put him up front because I didn't know Aubameyang was coming back. So now I know Aubameyang's coming back. I'm thinking he needs to go up front where Pepe is, and then who do I drop? ESR or Saka to keep Pepe? It's a bit tricky, but I hate to say it, I'd have to drop Smith Rowe for him.
You have to drop Smith Rowe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't drop Saka. I really can't do it. But if I'm thinking about this now, no, I'd have to drop Saka and then bring him on as an impact player because he works great like that as well. And then obviously bring Pepe back out on the right, Saka on the left, and Aubameyang through the middle. Hopefully, he can get some goals that way. But as I said earlier, we did this at 12:30 in the afternoon before the news came through, so I had no choice to put Pepe there. But yeah, no, I just thought it was something different. Thanks, Dumbledore. I didn't change my mind. But I just wanted something different. We all know what he's going to get, do. We know who his favourites are, but I want something different.
Yeah. No,
that
it
is
is.
A good point, Panda. That is very a good point. I mean, I didn't even think about his maintenance lines, but he won't play right wing back. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's really a hard one when it comes to
Would you change any of that, Steve, Jay? What would you change? I mean, I know it's something different, but
yeah, I think let me kind of bring it up again. The thing for me is, I think you've got it bang on in terms of the formation. I think, well, in my opinion, I think in terms of our success against the big boys previously, it worked well with going to a back 5. So I would definitely play the formation you've played. I'm regardless of the Ramsdale signing, I can see Leno starting. I think Leno is our number 1, so he'll start in this game. In terms of the back, the 3 centre backs, those are the 3 I probably would go for as well. I think Holding, famously does play well against the big teams, notably
Chelsea.
And I think obviously Ben White being our 50 million pound man, he's got to play. Tierney, plays in a back 3, for Scotland. I think Tavares has looked sharp and really good, so he can come in as left wing back. I'm not too sure who I would play on right wing back. It would be Cedric or Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but as you said, it seems like he's quite reluctant to play there. So really and truly, it wouldn't be Chambers and it wouldn't be Bellerin. So for me, it would be a choice between Ainsley and Cedric. So I'm kind of happy, with you putting Cedric there. In the midfield now is interesting because obviously for me it would be Partey and Lokonga if I had a choice of all the centre mids. I don't think.
Well, but
Yeah, I
based on the
don't think
current state
Torreira's
of
going to
things.
get a shout. I think it was Weezy J that said it. That Torreira, it's kind of publicly known that he is up for transfer. He's not a part of Arteta's plans, and he doesn't really want to be at the club. But he is one player. I have to agree with you. He is one player that I would like to potentially get a second chance, because I really liked him. When he was originally in an Arsenal shirt. But I think I wouldn't change it. Put it this way. I don't think that's how it's going to look, but I wouldn't change it. Out of the players that are available, if all the players were available and Partey's not available, I would play these two, because I would play him over Xhaka, in my opinion. And then up top, obviously, given the news that Aubameyang could be fit, I would play Aubameyang through the middle. I would play Saka on the right, and I would play Pepe on the left. That obviously does mean that there isn't room for Smith Rowe in the lineup, but it's just one of those things. I think the game itself, it's just a hard one, isn't it? There's no kind of right or wrong answer with regards like the lineup and stuff. It's just a really hard one, because something's got to give. Like, I think most importantly against Chelsea, we have to be solid. We have to defend well as a unit, and then we have to have a front three that can potentially break quickly on the Chelsea team. So obviously, fans in the chat, you're going to have your opinions about Martinelli, ESR, etc., and that's what football's about. It's about debate. It's about opinion.
Can we just say, I just want to say thank you to Chris Bullard as well.
With
your patience with me this afternoon, because I kept changing my mind. I think I drove him a bit mad, but thank you for making the graphics for us, mate. Honestly, they're brilliant.
It's good. No, thank you, Chris. I echo everything that Lottie has said. So we'll go through some comments just before, obviously, I'll get your score predictions. David said here, tough being a manager, isn't it? It is. We make out it's easy, but it really is tough to actually select an 11.
I'm like that with my FPL.
Hats off to
I'm still changing it.
So we've got Mark Green. Mark Green says, drop Pepe. He didn't exactly rip up trees Friday, did he?
With that comment, you got to remember Chambers didn't get forward. That's when he was isolated on his own. He looked scared, but he was isolated. For me, that's my opinion, though. That's just me. It might be just me. I don't know. You guys,
no worries.
But
no problem. Chris, for me, Pepe plays first half. Saka the second half on the right. Aubameyang in the middle. Robert from Free look and agree with back three. Unfortunately, I think Chelsea have too much quality all over the pitch. They're defensively sound and have a lot of depth in attack. That is true. It's going to be a tough game regardless. Matt has got
it's not Man United, Robbie.
Yeah. Matt has got a front three of Saka, Martinelli, and Aubameyang. We've got David again. I'd probably play Saka and ESR, Pepe as a striker. Keith, we've got Ainsley over Cedric, which is what I said. I think for me, it would be a toss-up between the two. But I think the fact that I think Ainsley's made it quite public that he doesn't want to play right back, maybe that's probably why he's not featured there. And why he's not in the team, because I think he's probably the best option we've got in that position, really. But if he's not happy playing there, then there's very little Arteta can do. Chris, again, I was disappointed you didn't pick 34, as I had a funny thing for his player graphic. Oh, okay, no problem. Maybe
Chris,
next time.
I'm not going to pick him. We know he's going to be picked, but I wanted something different, and I'm not going to pick him.
Yeah, and it's true, Matt, you hit the nail on the head. It is sad. It's a sad situation, which we've touched upon in the past. Ainsley does play really well there, but unfortunately, he doesn't want to play. Your first team, Chris, you sent would definitely have beaten Chelsea. Okay, we'll see. Time will tell. Mark Green, we are playing the Euro champs, though not Brentford. Yes, it's a big game. It's a huge game. I just want to please through these.
Bogey team, and they're yet to beat Arteta since Arteta took over. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Ainsley in the middle, next to Lokonga. You know what? This is something that I've said before, that I remember seeing Ainsley play in midfield, and he got a man of the match performance. I believe it was at Old Trafford. But it's almost like he's not really kind of pushed on from that point. And I think at the point in his Arsenal career now, I can't really see him getting another opportunity in that midfield, if I'm honest. Xhaka should have got sold, Steve
is 100% nail on the head there.
I think I think most of us kind of agree with that opinion, really, but it's not really happened. David, Pepe, and a striker, not as a striker, just in case you misread. Okay, no problem. And lastly,
okay.
I'll take that down
I
real
couldn't
quick.
count this morning,
I'll
so I
take that
scribbled
down
it
real
down
quick.
really quickly when you were chasing me for it. I was in a Teams meeting when I did that. And I just texted you all the names and he didn't even count himself. So
it's easily done. It's easily done. It's easily done. But yeah, so obviously now in terms of score predictions, now an interesting one here. So you can't have the score prediction of 2-1 Arsenal because Stephen messaged me earlier beforehand.
I'm going to stick with my score that I said yesterday.
Now, I hope Georgina's watching. You can't take 2-1 Chelsea because Georgina actually predicted reluctantly that we are going to lose tomorrow's game. Now, because we're doing this whole league predictor, and obviously I spoke to Georgina beforehand, I took her score, and we're doing this whole thing. So if obviously we don't want to lose to Chelsea, but if we do lose to Chelsea 2-1, then obviously there's certain points for the scoreline, certain points for the result. Beforehand, Stephen did put on the £1 bet that we agreed what we're going to do every live show ahead of a game. The odds were 7-1 for a Chelsea 2-1 victory. So the returns were £8. So obviously, if the prediction is right, there's 4 points up for grabs with regards getting the scoreline right and the result. And obviously, if we do get the £8 in returns, which we hope we don't because we want Arsenal to win, then obviously that money will go to charity. So given the fact that 2-1 to Arsenal and 2-1 to Chelsea have gone, what is your score prediction for Sunday's game?
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I've said yesterday, and I'm going to stick to my guns, 3-0 Chelsea.
Seriously?
Yep.
Seriously?
If Lukaku is starting or he's coming off that bench, yes.
Yeah.
3-0 Chelsea.
You know what? I have to be completely honest. I can't envision us winning this game, given the fact, that we couldn't beat Brentford.
I'm hoping I'm wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I can't necessarily envision a victory. So I'm gonna try and just kind of balance it out a little bit and just say maybe a 1-1 between Arsenal and Chelsea, a 1-1 draw. But who's scoring for us? If Aubameyang plays, I'm backing Aubameyang to get a goal. I think no time like the present. If we ever need our striker to step up and get us a goal, then this is the kind of game. And I could actually envision a Lukaku debut goal and an Aubameyang comeback goal and a 1-1 result. But yeah, please do put your score lines in the chat. I can see them, some of them coming through already. We've got Mark saying maybe Arteta will surprise us all, but then again, maybe not. We've got AFC pressure. I smell a 1-0 like our last season celebration. We've got here Mark Wilson, Chelsea 2-0. And I think that kind of echo a lot of, with a lot of Arsenal fans. I don't think any of us are confident going into this game. Mark Green, that's what I think Lottie can't see us scoring either. We've got AFC pressure.
I am going to this game, guys, as well.
Lose 1 week and win the next. I know. I really hope you get a result because you're going to be there.
I do.
Sorry,
I'm going with Jay Morales in the comments. We're going together. So
Mark Wilson says, "Sorry, bye with Tuchel. Chelsea are a different animal. Hope I'm wrong though." We've got David Israel, Arsenal 0, Chelsea 2. That seems to be quite a popular potential scoreline. Chris is with me. 1-1. It's always that score. Georgina, my prediction, G. Yeah, I spoke about it just briefly then, but I okayed it with you for me to actually say it on the live. So, and to be fair, a lot of us are feeling the same, Georgina. So, I think we're all pretty realistic gunners, on this show and in this chat. So, I think we're all predicting a tough match and a potential loss here. 1-1, we've got Jay, 1-1, and Wheezy, 2-1 to Chelsea. Keith, Saka scores. Matt, good for you, FPL Lottie. And lastly, I reckon 2-1 to the Arsenal. Only saying this as I'm going Sunday.
All right, I might see you up there, mate.
I'd say 1-1. Right. So that kind of brings us to the close of this show. As I said, we're going to keep it a little bit shorter than we usually do, just because Lottie's been very busy on other shows this week. I've got a really early morning tomorrow as I'm taking the whole family gang to Chisholm. So I'm getting up at 7 and probably won't be home till about 9 p.m. tomorrow night. But obviously, before we kind of round things up, just a couple of things to say. Lottie, could you just kind of give us a bit of an update with regards FPL, fantasy football?
Well, if you missed the updates from the last FPL update, you need to go back and watch our review show from Monday to get the latest. But I just want to remind everybody, you need to finalise your teams by 11 a.m. on Saturday. That's when the first game is. If you forget, just ping me a message, ping G a message, or even better, open up your app, click on pick team at the top. We'll tell you when the deadline is. And make sure none of your players are injured. You need all the points you can get this weekend.
Definitely, and I've paid really close attention to it because I wasn't happy with my measly 35.
You guys got a long way to catch up to 126. Come and catch me if you can.
I need a good week.
This is my first season as well, boys. Come on.
I need a good week. Trust me, because I think I'm down in like 200th place or something like that.
You're in 193. Stephen's in 211. If I remember right. You boys need to come catch me. I know it's only 30 points, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll give everybody an update on our next show. But yeah, thank you for that, Lottie. With regards to our subs challenge, so you may know already, as that's the reason why you don't see Stephen here with bleach blonde hair. We did fail in our first subs challenge, which was to get 500 subs before the start of the season, but doesn't matter. We appreciate all the everybody who has subscribed to our channel. But we are now entering the second part of our sub challenge, which is if you want to see me with bleach blonde hair, beard, and tash, then please help us get to 500.
We're not doing the eyebrows, are we, Jay?
No, not at all. That's non-negotiable. If we can get to 500 subscribers by the 31st of December, then I will bleach blonde my hair, tash, and beard. And the third part of the challenge, just to let you know, which is still open, which is if we can get to 1,000 subscribers by the start of next season, then
2,000.
2,000.
2,000. Mine is 2,000. Thank you. It's my skin we're talking about. Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure I correct that.
Yeah,
if we get,
considering that my mum's watching, yeah, she's got it on in the living room on a telly.
Lottie was fast, she was like, no, not 1,000, 2,000, mate, 2,000. So yeah, if we get 2,000 subscribers by the beginning of next season, then Lottie will be getting a tattoo, and obviously, details will be followed closer to the time. Just want to say some thank yous as well. Obviously, on the description, we have put. Our channel is self-funded. Everything in terms of what we do ourselves, and we have a lot of help from, some really close friends to the channel. So we massively appreciate, all the work you do with regards to graphics, the overlays, etc., etc. But some of you that do watch us kind of week in, week out, you did donate, you bought us some coffees, which was like some donations. So we're massively, grateful for that. And just to kind of reassure you that everything that is donated does go to, obviously paying for the channel itself and its maintenance. But massive thank you for those of you who did buy some coffees and donate some money towards the channel. Massively appreciate that. Just to let you know that we do have Cannon Chatter merchandise. It is available. All details, if you want to get, one of these hoodies or one of the T-shirts, like the yellow T-shirt that Stephen was rocking in the last live, or the T-shirt that Lottie's rocking now. All the information is in the description. It will tell you, who to message, where to find out information. So if you're interested in that, then by all means, go ahead and purchase some of that. And last but not least, I think we will run through our socials if I can actually find them. Lottie, can you take it away?
All right. If you want to come find us on Facebook, it's just punch in the search bar, Cannon Chatter. Same with Instagram, but we've got the underscore in the middle, so it's Cannon_Chatter.
And
obviously, if you want to come find us on Twitter, if you want to come find the channel's main account, it's at Cannon Chatter. Or if you want to follow Stephen, who's not here tonight, it's SB Cannon Chatter. Or if you want to follow my wonderful co-host sitting next to me on the screen, it's at G Talks Arsenal. Or if you want to come follow me, it's Lottie_B with 2 T's and 2 I's because someone beat me to the normal spelling. Better yet, if you want to really learn a bit more about Tavares, Sambi, or even Ben White, or relive the game on Friday and see what I really think deep down, go and check out my blog. It's lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk, or you can just find the link on my Twitter profile. Make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications, and hit that like button.
Brilliant, and thank you so much for doing that, Lottie. That's kind of like all it is for tonight's show. A little bit shorter than we usually do. Obviously, we've got some comments here, so I'm going to quickly kind of breeze through those, just so everybody who has commented has a chance to have their say. I'm just trying to find where we are. David said that he will be there too, Lottie, with regards to the game.
Might catch you up there.
Mr. Arsenal podcast. On the plus side, the Spuds are losing as we speak in their Conference League qualifier.
Yes!
Get in.
Who are they playing actually, Ryan?
I don't even know. Some farmer team from Portugal, to be honest. So I don't even know. I'm
just
so
curious
far
to what their
down.
name was. That's even better.
Yeah,
when my stepdad comes back later. Oh yeah.
David, honestly, don't worry. A lot of us are quite far down in the PL League. It's only game week 1, so just keep plowing away, and I'm sure you'll pick up some more points. Mark Green, can't change my team again. I know I've done it a million times already.
Don't tell me you guys have used your wild cards already. You don't get a new one till January.
I know. So if you haven't used your wild card, keep it because you're going to need it.
No, definitely. You do get a new one in January though, so use it between now and December.
Yeah,
you're warned, or you lose it.
Cool. We've got Mark Wilson. Our season starts in the Norwich game, and I think a lot of kind of Gooners do feel that way. Jay Gomez, hopefully I can't get another 89 point. Hopefully I can get another 89 points. Wow, well done.
All right, Mr. Show Off.
You know what I mean? Okay. Coming in here like, with my little 89 points. And I'm sitting here with 35.
Do you know what? Go and check it. When you go into the league, G, tap on his team. He's got a decent team. I've already had a nosy. If you tap on people's names, you can see the top.
I might have to go there and make some ideas. Do you know what I mean? I might have to do it. But no, well done, Jay. Well done, Jay, for 89 points. North Bank Summit, evening, guys. Evening. Obviously, David, thanks for the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Mark Wilson, keep up the good work. Great channel. Thank you so much for all your support. Robert, great listen. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah.
Jay Gomez, great work, team. Fantastic show as per usual.
Thanks, Jay.
Appreciate the love. David Israel, 5 minutes left of the Spurs match. Well, let's hope that team can hold on and get the result. And last but not least, Matt, good show tonight, guys. So just the last thing to say is that thank you all for tuning in to Canal Chatter TV, for our preview show, for Arsenal versus Chelsea. Just to let you know that we will be back on Monday the 23rd for our review show of the Chelsea game, which is happening on Sunday, and a look ahead to the West Bromwich Albion game, the team that will be playing in the Carabao Cup. So that's it. Any last words from you, Lottie?
That's a good shout. Sorry, Mark Green is a very, very good shout. Check the team with 150 points. But they did triple captain, and you only get that once a season. So I'll wait for a double game week for that one.
Yeah.
Last words. Come on, the Arsenal. I know I said we're going to lose, Arsenal. But no, definitely. And I will be taking loads and loads of pictures while I'm up there. So we should have some new pictures, hopefully. Or some of you in the chat, if I see you up there, we'll get you on the screen. But good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world.
That's it. Good evening, guys. Take care, and look. Let's hope we can get a positive result, and we'll see you on Monday. Good evening.